Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to you very special people that are listening here. Whether you're new or you've been here for a while, I want to say thank you because you don't have to be here, but you're doing it for me. And for that, I am super grateful. At the time of this recording, I'm sitting at 52 subscribers on YouTube. And I'm grateful for all of you, and I'm thankful for all of you that have listened, subscribed, given me input, that are still sticking around. I appreciate you. Definitely the ones that are sharing and having their friends tune in and watch, and family, and I mean, even if you have an enemy that you were not close with at the moment, if you talk to them or if you argue with them next time, just say, hey, go listen to the Down Trap, because he's not going to waste your time, and I'm not here to waste you guys' time either. So, once again, thankful. I'm thankful. Super grateful for y'all. Each and every last one of you. I can't say it enough, really. I really can't say it enough. But I'm going to start this episode off a little bit differently. And I want to give some shout outs to the people that I'm doing this for, and the people that I've met on the interwebs that are just here with me. So, if I don't get you now, I'll get you later. So, don't be upset. But first and foremost, I want to give another huge shout out to my boy Greg, who, if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be doing this anyway. I wouldn't have even gotten started. So yeah, if you're liking what you're getting, then thank me, but also don't forget to thank him, because he's a huge reason of why I'm doing this here now. So thank you, Greg. Thank you, Justin. This is my cousin. He was on the previous episode. Thank you to my boy Lynn over at the Bros Who Think Network. Yeah, dude. Huge inspiration. Go check him out. Broswhothink.com is his website, where he houses several different podcasts, and he also has a game show that he hosts on Twitch, and that he's also a competitor on. So that's called Pitch It. If you're listening to this before the 22nd of May, then there's a match on the 22nd of May, which is a Saturday at 8 p.m. on Twitch, twitch.tv/broswhothink. So, yeah. Go check that out. My boy Cash Carbon, from the Cash Cafe, he's going to be over there competing. So shout out to Cash, by the way. Cash is another reason why I'm doing what I'm doing here. He's also an inspiration to me. These dudes they're killing it, man. So definitely check out Cash Carbon on Twitch at twitch.tv/Cash Carbon, I believe it is. And that's KASHCARBON. Shout out to my cousin Jasmine. She's also doing her thing on YouTube, and I believe she actually just took a trip to Puerto Rico. So yeah, live it up, girl. Shout out to the rest of my family. I appreciate y'all for listening. I know that y'all are day one, so if you're here and you're listening, thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the people in the Discord. And I mean, I'm talking to RJXCD, and Lynn is there, and Cash is there, and shout out to my boy Dylan, and shout out to Eggy, because yeah, I'm here because of you guys. So thank each and every last one of you, and I hope that you're ready to enjoy this ride that we're going on, as I stated previous times. But yeah, and I believe that's it for now. Oh, one more. Shout out to my barber Aaron for always making sure that I'm clean whenever I need it. So yeah, shout out to my boy Aaron, my barber Aaron, my main man. Really, the only person I let cut my hair. So shout out to you, bro. And yeah, so let's get into it. Let's get right into it. Now, I've been out and about, not outside, but when it comes to movies, I've seen my fair share in the last several months, and I'm so happy that theaters are open and we're actually getting to see these movies that we should have gotten last year. And yeah, it's a beautiful time to be alive. But if you know me, you know that I've been living in theaters. I've probably been to the movies 10 times in the past week and a half. So I'm super happy that theaters have opened back up and I can take advantage of my Regal Unlimited card. So see anything, see it anytime, and I just pay a certain amount per month. So it's like a streaming service, but I just get to go to the movies and I get 10% off concessions. So yeah, if I'm not out and about, I'm definitely in a movie theater somewhere watching something. So I want to start off by talking about Tom and Jerry, which I know came out several months ago, but I didn't get the chance to talk about it yet. So here we are. Now, it was released on February 26th, I believe. I went to see it opening night, and I knew it came out on HBO Max the same day, but I just wanted to get the theater experience, you know? So I went to the movies to go and see it. And surprisingly, I enjoyed this movie. Now, people always come to me and they tell me that I'm super critical when it comes to films and even animated films or children films, but this one, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I came into this movie looking to get a Tom and Jerry movie. I expected to get some cat versus mouse shenanigans, and that's exactly what I got. Now, I wasn't expecting anything spectacular. I wasn't expecting anything more than what it was. Me being a 90s baby and growing up with the Tom and Jerry TV show, I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew I was just going to get some stupid stuff happening, some violence, of course, because it's Tom and Jerry, some decent animation just because it's 2D animation thrown into a 3D world. So I was really interested to see how they would do that because it's not the first time that we've seen it been done. But they made it work for what it was. Um, if you know me, you know that I love big weddings and movies and TV shows, and this one has a huge wedding, which I loved. The cast for this movie, they did what needed to be done. I'm not going to say that anyone was a standout per se, but when it comes to roles like these, it's just kind of hard to find that one role that's just going to stand above and stand out from everything else in this movie. So the cast wasn't great, but when it came to the animation and Tom and Jerry basically getting into it and fighting each other and hitting each other with frying pans and stuff like that, yeah, that's what I wanted. That's what I got. And with movies like this, you can't really expect too much when it comes to the humans anyway, just because they're literally a device to keep the plot moving. If you told someone to make an hour and a half to 2 hour film about an animated cat chasing an animated mouse in a 3D world with real people and real things happening in a wedding and everything else that's just going on in this movie in a hotel, it would be tough to do with just them two. Even if you had the other cats and other birds and other animals in the movie, it would just be tough to do. So I knew that I just could not be too invested in whatever the humans had going on. Now, with these performances, they weren't great by any means. If you're trying to watch this movie for human performances, this is not the movie to do it with, just because, as I just mentioned, they are just there to keep the film going. They're there to be background characters to keep things moving forward in this world. So yeah, and another thing that I noticed about this movie is that there's an abundance of African American culture throughout this film. Now, the film starts off with "Can I Kick It" by A Tribe Called Quest playing, and the pigeons from the cartoon are singing it. And I was taken aback a little bit because I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. But there was more hip hop in the movie, and there was some R&B in certain scenes. And there's one scene where Tom is playing the piano and he starts to sing, and it's T Pain's voice. Now, if you know me, you know that I love me some T Pain, so I wasn't complaining about that at all. But it was just shocking. And I think even at the end of the movie, when the credits began to roll, there was a part where Jerry's name popped up in the credits, and his name was Jerome. And I couldn't help but laugh out loud because Tom and Jerry came out in the 1940s. And if you'd have told someone in the 1940s that Jerry's name was Jerome, I don't know what would have happened, but people would not have been happy that there was a mouse named Jerome in their child's favorite cartoon to watch. So yeah, it worked for me. Like, it surprisingly worked for me. I really don't like movies like this. I don't care about them. I don't hold any stock to any of them. And to be honest, I just flat out enjoyed it. It's a 6 out of 10 for me, which is not terrible by any means. A 6 out of 10 to me is above average. I think 5 is right in the middle. So I think that an average movie would, of course, be a 5. So I went into this movie. Like I said, I looked forward to seeing a cat run and chase a mouse throughout a hotel. And that's what I got for the most part. I got some extra stuff too. I got to listen to some songs that I like, which is cool. So no complaints from me there. But it's easy to see that this film has some things that other films like it don't have. Like, if you compare this movie to a Space Jam or I think it was called Looney Tunes Back in Action or whatever, you can see that things have changed. And whether they be for the better or for the worst, I enjoy the movie. But on to another film that I watched that came out not too long ago. Raya and the Last Dragon. Now, if you know me, you know that I have a love-hate relationship with Disney. And that's because Disney houses some of my favorite childhood films. But recently, a lot of their films have not done it for me. And I don't know if that's just because I've gotten older or something's changed within my personality that just says, hey, this is not good. Or you shouldn't care about this just because it's not good. Or if it's just Disney and they're just not trying because they have the formula. Disney knows how to hit those emotional beats. They know that they can get reactions from scenes where friends are breaking up and they have to get back together, or the same thing with family. And then they'll also throw in a cute animal, and then everything will be fine by the end of the film. But it's essentially happened again. But this time I enjoyed it. And that might be another shocker because I went into this movie not really being excited about it. Mainly because I found out that they were going to put it out on their $30 premiere access thing on Disney Plus, which I'm not a huge fan of. I don't think any of their movies right now are worth $30 to see, whether you see it now or you see it later. I just don't see it as being $30 worthy. And as I've said in other episodes, if you have $30 that you are spending on Disney Plus to watch a movie, I'd rather you give that $30 to me and I make it way. I'd make your $30 worth your while. Oh God, I sound kind of like a. That sounds bad, but anyway, Raya and the Last Dragon is a fantastic looking film. The 3D animation is just, mwah, it's really the chef's kiss. Disney knows what they're doing when it comes to 3D animation, and that should be to no surprise for anyone because they've been doing it for so long. And this is just another part of their evolution into making things be photorealistic while making us just kind of gush at the film. And I mean, when it comes to the colors, the greens of the grass pop, the blues of the sea, they pop. All these colors just pop. And if you know me, you know that I can't stand when films put yellow and brown or blue filters uncertain scenes because of the location that they're filming in. But in this movie, it's done for a good reason. It's part of the story. It's showing that this character is living in this desolated area. No one's around. His family's gone. What 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 can they do now? He's just in a terrible situation. Our heroes have found him. It's there to show some senses of dread. It works in that sense. But when you have movies kind of like Extraction, where they show these places with this yellow color and it's meant to exude poverty and poorness, then it's bad. It's bad. But yeah, gorgeous film. When it comes to the voice cast, everyone did a great job. Like there was not one person in this film that I can say did a bad job. And Kelly Marie Tran plays the role of Raya. Aquafina plays the role of Sisu, who is the last dragon, which I thought was going to be unbearable in this movie because I already see Aquafina as an annoying character in most of her films, but it worked this time because of the character that she played, and she was a little bit more animated this time around than she has been in other films that I've seen her in. So I really enjoyed her there. Daniel Day Kim did a great job as Raya's dad, even though he wasn't in the movie for too long. I know Daniel Day Kim mainly for playing Johnny Gat from the Saints Row franchise. So that's my boy Johnny Gat, and he never fails at doing a good job. So there's that. And also Benedict Wong did an excellent job in this film, and I'm not really too familiar with his voice. Like I'm used to seeing him in Avengers movies and everything and Doctor Strange, but when it came to this movie, I just was kind of impressed, to say the least, at his performance in this film, and I I was just shocked. But when it comes to this film, it wraps up in a nice bow. It wraps itself up in a pretty nice little Mickey Mouse bow, which I have no problems with. I don't like to see franchises be milked for every penny that they can get from our pockets, but I feel like this movie ends in a way where it could be just that. It may not need a sequel. I could see it getting a spinoff, but I don't think a sequel is needed, but it's Disney, so we could see a sequel for this movie, which I am not shocked by any means for, but it it wraps itself up. And for a lot of Disney movies, they fail to do that. A lot of movies, well, Disney movies, as of late, have fallen on their face. Onward being one of them, but this one I was happy with, and good on Disney. Disney gets a high five from me for this film, and I give it an 8 out of 10. I said it. It's 2021, and I just gave a Disney film an 8 out of 10. What is the world coming to? And I'm even more excited for Disney because they have some more things coming. I just hope that they know that if they release anything on Premier Access for $30, they are not getting my $30. And if you have $30, send it my way. I give you my Cash App, Venmo, whatever. And I'm more than likely to put the money towards the podcast. So yeah, you'd be helping me out in several different ways if you decided to give me $30 instead of Disney. So gracias and arigato for doing that. Yeah, that was Raya. So speaking of dragons, Godzilla vs. King Kong was also released at the end of March. I think it was March 31st to be exact. And man, when I tell you that I was excited for this film, I really mean it. Now, it was one of my most anticipated films of the year, just because if you tell me that you have two big monsters fighting each other or several monsters fighting each other, I'm all in. I'm throwing all my chips in. When the first Godzilla was announced back in 2013, the one that came out in 2014, I was excited for it. But when I watched it and noticed that we only got a few minutes of screen time for the big boy, I was disappointed because I wanted a lot more. But what can I do? I'm just a consumer. So when the King Kong movie was announced, Skull Island, and we got a lot more King Kong in that movie than we got for Godzilla and Godzilla's movie. I was impressed. I was glad that that's where they knew what we wanted, and they gave it to us. They gave us King Kong fighting monsters and killing humans, which is what we wanted. This is why we paid to go and see these movies. And when Godzilla King of the Monsters came out, we got more of that. We got more monsters. We got more Godzilla. We got more fights. Unfortunately, we got some more human stuff, which I previously stated I don't care about. But that stuff needs to be there to move the plot forward. You just can't give us, I mean, you can, it's possible to give us an hour and a half and 2 hours of monsters beating each other up. I actually prefer it that way, but that's what we got. So when this movie was announced, or well, when it was teased years ago that we were going to get a Godzilla versus King Kong movie, I kind of got worried because I knew that we were going to get some humans in this movie. And I wanted us to make sure that we had enough Godzilla and enough King Kong. And I wanted there to be a definitive winner for this film. I didn't want the film to end off in a stalemate or some kind of tie or just something random happening and we actually don't even get the fight. I wanted there to be Godzilla versus King Kong and then there to be a definitive winner. And that's what I got. I wanted to see two monsters fight each other in the city and destroy things. And that's what I got. I wanted to see Godzilla versus King Kong, and that's what I got. There are several fight scenes in this movie. One in particular takes place on water, which is Godzilla's territory. So it was interesting to see a giant ape try to maneuver his way out of water while he's definitely getting beaten on. And he would have, I'm not going to spoil anything, but let's just say that the movie would have been short if it weren't for the humans in this film. And I was rooting for Godzilla. If you couldn't tell, by the way, I was rooting for Godzilla, and that's my dog. That's all I can say. That's my big dragon atomic lizard that shoots fire beams out of his mouth. That's what I paid to see. Now, the humans, of course, they didn't do much here besides move the plot forward. So I can't really say that there were too many standouts. My favorite would have to be Brian Tyree Henry's character, who was a podcaster who basically talked about conspiracies with the agencies and tech companies about creating some kind of defense system against Godzilla, which he was right about, surprisingly. But yeah, seeing Brian Tyree Henry in this movie, it hurt a little bit because I didn't want him to be done the way that they usually do humans in these type of movies, but they did it differently and it worked for me. I mean, one, because the dude's a podcaster. Two, because it's Brian Tyree Henry, who is the one and only Paperboy from the show Atlanta. So if you haven't watched Atlanta, I'm going to tell you again to watch Atlanta. Yeah, he does a great job here. Everyone else is whatever. You could not tell me another role in this film that was as good as Brian Tyree Henry's role was. Granted, he is not a bigger character than Godzilla or King Kong or the mysterious third monster in this film. He did a great job for what he was given. And kudos to Brian Tyree Henry, kudos to Warner Brothers, because they've been doing a lot this year, which I'm proud of. And yeah, that's what I got. I wanted to see Godzilla versus King Kong. That's what I got. I was here for it. And for that reason, Godzilla versus King Kong gets a 7 out of 10 from me. A 7 out of 10. Now, I might have given it a lot of praises just now, but the humans really bring this movie down for obvious reasons. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I even talked to my boy Lynn about it over at Bros Who Think Network, and I told him that this film is going to be good. And he did not believe me one bit. He thought I was lying. He thought I was overhyping it. And when I think, yeah, after he's seen the movie, I think he messaged me and he just said that you were right. He said, Adamo, you are right. And I said, okay, I knew it. I knew it. But, um, yeah, I don't think that this is a film that you want to miss out on. Nobody wants to miss out on this film. And speaking of films, I seen Nobody a few months ago. Now, well, maybe a month and a half ago, but Nobody is a film that could easily be compared to the John Wick films in many ways. From the way that the plot is developed, from the way that the character is fighting, from the gunplay in this film. There's a lot of John Wick elements in this film, and that's pretty obvious because it's directed, well, I believe it's written by Derek Kolstad, who directed, no, he created, I'm sorry, he created the John Wick films. So it's kind of obvious to see that there was going to be a lot of similarities between the two. But the only difference is that this man is an everyday dad. He's basically a robot. He's going to work, he's coming home, waking up, forgetting to take out the trash, doing it all over again. And he's basically fed up with life at this point. And he's not happy in his marriage. His kids are just kind of doing whatever. And he's just in a point in his life where his hands are up at this point. So it stars Bob Odenkirk, by the way, who is Saul from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad fame. And he plays this character called Hutch Mansell. The film also has Christopher Lloyd in it, as well as RZA from Wu-Tang Clan, which I was shocked to see, but I like RZA, so I wasn't mad at it. So, of course, with a John Wick type of film, he runs into an issue where he has a past life that he has not really yet escaped. So he's kind of waiting for that time to come because nothing else is going on in his life. He gets on a bus to go home, and these goons and thugs get on the bus, and they're harassing this young lady, and he's witnessing it. So eventually he has enough. He tells the bus driver to get off the bus, and he tells these guys, hey, I'm going to mess y'all up. And you're looking at this man and you're seeing this 50-year-old guy who's having a midlife crisis, and you see these young 20-somethings, and you just think that they're just going to jump on this man. But that's not what happens. They attack him, and he attacks back. He hits them, and they hit back. And that was good to see because this man is an ex-assassin, and he's rusty. He's a father now. He's not used to doing those things anymore. So seeing him get hit hard, seeing him hit hard back was good to see. And as the movie goes on and there are these other situations, you see him getting back to what he used to be. He's getting better at fighting. He's a better shooter. He's getting smarter throughout these fights. But back to the bus fight. So it turns out that one of the people that he beat up was the brother of a Russian mob boss. Big surprise. And this mob boss character was not the greatest mob boss character that we've seen. He's really cliche. He's the older type of Russian guy. He's crazy. He sings at karaoke. And that's stuff that we've seen before. So I'm not mad at it. But the long story short, the Russian guy finds out who he is and sends more goons to go after him. And you have this man who has a family and he wants to protect his family. And I'm just going to say that he does what's needed to be done to protect his family. And he does a great job at it. So that's Nobody for the most part. I'm not going to spoil the entire movie. I'm not going to tell you everything about what happens. I will say that there's a few scenes in the film that are super creative, and I want there to be a sequel. I want to see more. I want to see Bob Odenkirk in a lot more roles like this. A lot of these more action-oriented roles. We've seen him in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and more of these somber roles and deep man roles. But I want to see him have fun and do action stuff. I mean, I remember seeing an interview where he talked about his training processes for this film, and I was pretty intrigued just to see someone who's not used to doing these type of films actually enjoy his training. That was cool. And it was cool to see him in this role. The overall movie, it was just a cool movie, and I give it an 8 out of 10 just for that. I wanted to go and see action. That's what I got. And no matter how you splice it, it's just a fun film. And I was really looking forward to it just because we haven't really gotten movies in a while like this anyway. I mean, kind of big budget films with a lot of action that can be turn your brain off movies, but turn your brain on to see what you would do in this type of situation, type of film. But I enjoyed it. Now, there's room for sequels. There's room for a spinoff, which I would not mind seeing with two particular characters. And I could even see this movie branching out and becoming part of the John Wick universe. If Derek Kolstad can somehow bring these two films together, I think it'd be really cool to see. Now, I don't know who wouldn't want to see that, but hey, that's just my opinion. It's the Dom Trap. So, yeah. I also want to discuss a few of my most anticipated films that we have coming up, scheduled anyway. I'm recording this episode on May 20th, so I have not yet seen Army of the Dead yet. I'm really looking forward to it. Comes out on the 21st on Netflix. I was going to go to a theater to go and see it, but the closest theater to me that was showing it was in Asheville. I didn't really want to go to Asheville to see this film, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready to see what Zack Snyder has next, of course, after the whole Snyder Cut debacle. I hope that this man has a long-lasting career and is able to bounce back off of all of this basically crap that he's been having to deal with WB as a studio company and their overheads and everyone that's basically over there. So hopefully this film is good. It stars Dave Bautista. It stars Amari Hardwick, who we know as Ghost from Power. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I just want a dumb zombie movie right now. I'm itching for one. It's been a while since we got one, really. And I tell people all the time that I'm really burnt out on zombie films, but I want to see this one. I want to see a zombie tiger. Like, I'm here for it. And it's also a heist film, I believe. I believe they're in like a casino and stuff. And yeah, I'm ready to see Army of the Dead that comes out May 21st on Netflix. And then next week on May 28th, A Quiet Place Part 2 will be releasing. And this is a film I've been looking forward to for the past year, over a year actually. Now, last year when movie theaters shut down, the last movie I saw in theaters before I seen Tenet was A Way Back with Ben Affleck. And I got the trailer for A Quiet Place Part 2 while I was there watching this movie. And I believe it was supposed to come out maybe a month or two later. But I got the email while I was sitting in the movie theater saying that, hi, we're going to be closing today. So, yeah, that movie was going to get delayed just like everything else was delayed. So now it's time again for A Quiet Place Part 2 to be released. And I'm super, super, super excited to see this movie. I love the first film. I loved how John Krasinski's mind works in that film. Everything just kind of works. The whole family aspect, the monsters, just the fact that you have to be quiet to avoid these aliens. It's cool. It's creepy. It dials up the scare factor because the movie is quiet. Therefore, you want to be in a quiet theater when you're watching this film, which is funny because it's called A Quiet Place, and theaters are supposed to be a quiet place. So it's best to watch these type of movies in theaters. I will be seeing this one on Friday. Super excited to see it. And I mean, I gave the first movie a 9 out of 10. I loved it. I had a few issues with it, but overall, as far as the stories and the monster design and just the fact that the movie was intense and the actors did a great job, even the children. Yeah, I love A Quiet Place. I'm here to see A Quiet Place Part 2. I'm not expecting it to be better than the first film, but I am expecting something good to continue this universe that they're building. Um, and I'm still kind of shocked that we're getting a sequel for this movie so quickly. I didn't even expect us to get a sequel in the first place, but yes. And if you haven't seen A Quiet Place Part 1 yet, I highly recommend it. It has the Dom Trap stamp of approval, so yes, go and see it. And I believe that's it for the month of May. This month is already flying by, so next month is going to be June, and Cruella comes out next month, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm really looking forward to Cruella, surprisingly. Now, back to my Disney conversation, I do believe that this is going to be another premiere access film for $30, but they're not getting my $30. When it comes to 101 Dalmatians, I've always liked 101 Dalmatians. I even like the movie 102 Dalmatians. I had several books. I even like the animated series that they had. I've always been a fan of Dalmatians, dogs in general. So, yeah, but with Cruella as a character, in those movies and TV shows, she was just bad to be bad, which is not a bad thing at all, but we never got anything from her besides her wanting to design clothes using the fur and skin from these Dalmatians. And that was enough back then. But now, years later, we're getting a prequel of sorts with Emma Stone taking the character. Well, yeah, she's taking the character for her reigns, and it also features Emma Thompson, who I believe is going to be a character that's over Cruella. So us being able to see Cruella's true motives, we're going to see a lot of crazy outfits. I believe I seen one scene in a trailer where she's wearing this dress and she lights it on fire, and then it completely transforms into another dress, which is cool. Um, I like Emma Stone. I like 101 Dalmatians. I like Cruella as a character. So I'm definitely going to be checking Cruella out. So be looking forward to my review of that. We also have the new Conjuring film called The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. That'll be released next month as well. Now, when it comes to the Conjuring universe, I feel like it's oversaturated at this point. We've gotten so many of these films. We've gotten both of the Conjuring films. We've gotten several Annabelle movies. We've gotten The Curse of La Llorona. And it just feels like, also we've gotten The Nun. And it just feels that there are too many of these movies at this point. And it's just a matter of time before we catch wind of what's going on. There's only so many times that they can scare us in the same type of ways, where a character goes into a dark hallway and a ball falls, or a ghost pops out of nowhere for no particular reason. They have to do something special in this film, so I'm wanting to see what that's going to be. And hopefully I'm hoping that this will be the last one for a while. I don't think we need any more right now. It's just so many films. But I'm also excited for In the Heights, which is a musical that'll be released soon. I'm also excited for The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard with Ryan Reynolds, Salma Hayek, and Samuel L. Jackson. I think that's going to be another action film that I can just turn my brain off and watch and laugh and be satisfied with. And there's also Luca, the other Disney film that's coming out really, really soon, I believe. And I do want to say that this one will be on the $30 premiere access with Disney Plus. Give me your $30 again, by the way. And Zola, which is about the dancer who meets up with another dancer, and the latter goes on an adventure. And yeah, it was all the events were transpired on Twitter, and Zola was tweeting these incidences out as she was living through them. So I believe A24 got the rights to make the movie, and I'm excited for it. I think it comes out at the end of June. And of course, we have Fast 9. Now, I wasn't really looking forward to this one. Seeing the trailer last year, And when they showed that a particular character was still alive, I rolled my eyes. I was done at this point. But I tried to avoid any more trailers. But I went to go and see Mortal Kombat a few weeks ago in theaters, and I got a trailer for Fast 9. And I couldn't leave. And I watched it. And I'm not underwhelmed at all. I I just hope it's good. I just hope it's serviceable. I hope it's just not terrible. I mean, the CG of Vin Diesel's character doing all of these stunts and him jumping out of a truck and then that said truck going off of a cliff at an angle where it's going up to hit a jet. It's I mean, we these movies have been ridiculous for a long time now. I'm not surprised by anything that they're doing right now. So when they announced that they were going to be going to space, I'm not surprised, man. At this point, we'll see Vin Diesel punch Optimus Prime from Transformers in the face, and I won't be mad at it, to be honest with you. it's They're not guilty pleasure films for me, but I do like to keep up with the Fast franchise. Just seeing from where they started with the first film and then going to the second film with Tyrese and Ludacris, and then just seeing what Ludacris's and Tyrese's characters are doing now is it's pretty hilarious to say the least. But I'm here. I'm here for Fast 9, I guess you can say, surprisingly. And that's just June. I don't want to get into anything else. I'll get into all that stuff later. And with us being in May, it's really shaping out to be another one of those great years for cinema. Just because we're getting a lot of films that we've been waiting for over a year. And the fact that we're getting the films as well as the trailers for some of these ones that were also delayed is sweet also. And it just means that we are finally in a state now to where production for films are ramping up again, which I'm not mad at. I always feel like the more films that we have out in the world, the better off the world is. Just because we don't need to be overloaded with a bunch of crap films. We don't need a bunch of parody films. I'm glad that that era is over. I'm glad that the teen dystopian era is over. I think we're headed into an era now where it's everything is up in the air. You can make any type of movie right now, and they can do extremely well. We've seen musicals do well in the most recent years. We've seen superhero movies do extremely well, which is no surprise. But just the fact that anyone can make anything right now, and it just can pop off. And we have studios like A24 that are just doing great film after great film after great film. And I'm also looking forward to Green Knight, which comes out in July. But yeah, it's just insane that we have a lot of these studios that are actually able to do things, and we have a lot of people with voices that need to be heard and actors that are showing their chops. It's a great time to be alive. And also, I just wanted to say real fast, but with outside opening up, I want each and every last one of you to be careful. Don't be in too many places that you don't feel like you should be in. Keep yourself safe, because if you don't, then who will? I want each and every last one of you to treat people with kindness, because sometimes you have no idea what 3 words could say to someone, or 4 words could say to someone, or maybe even 5. You have no idea. There have been times when I've been out and I have a decent conversation with someone. I remember a few weeks ago, I went to go and get gas and had a conversation with someone. We were just discussing value, how we see value in other people. And that conversation has really stuck with me, and I can't wait to talk about that conversation on a future episode with someone and bounce ideas off of their heads and see where their mind is at with what I have to bring to the table. So be looking forward to that. I really want to get deeper with everything with this podcast. I just don't want it to be about film. As I said previously, I want this to be a happy space where we talk and we ponder and we use our brains and be better people. And I think that's what everyone should want to do at the end of the day. Be better people, have better days, live better lives. I think that's why we're still here now. And once again, I don't want to ramble right now. Like I said, I have a lot more stuff coming up in the future. This may be a shorter episode than what you've gotten recently, but we're here. The Down Trap is here. The Down Trap is alive. The Down Trap is open. And once again, I want to thank each and every last one of you for checking me out, for listening, for giving me your thoughts and subscribing and sharing the podcast, because once again, I wouldn't be here without you. Once again, very special thanks to those that I mentioned previously. If you want to reach out to me, you know how to reach out to me, whether it be through social media. If you have my phone number, you just want to talk, do it. My phone stays on. If you need someone to talk to, I'm always here. No matter who's listening, you, yes, you, right there. I'll always have an ear to listen to whatever you have to say. So, once again, thank you all so much. We're going to keep this train moving. And this has been another episode of The Dom Trap. And once again, I am your host, your creator, your editor, your producer, your executive producer, your first, your last, your everything, your all the above, Dominique. And this has been The Dom Trap. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode and you enjoy everything that I have to bring forward to the table in the near future. Be good people. Stick around. I have a lot more things coming up, so yeah. And if you're here, just expect to have a lot of fun. That's all I got to say. So, it's been The Dom Trap. I'm Dominique. Peace, love, happiness. I don't know how to end this thing anymore. Peace.